Hello, this is Edward Ojambo, the webmaster for Ojamboshop.com. Ojambo.com has a great article on adding a fitness calculator to your website. By using PHP, the calculator can be modified and ported quickly. One scenario would be adding a waist to height ratio to the fitness calculator. The link is www.ojambo.com/adding-fitness-calculator. A working version of the calculator is located at www.ojambo.com/fitness-calculator. You can also visit www.ojamboshop.com for templates for WordPress, ZenCard, and other popular content management systems. Tools required: graphic program for markup, text editor, web server, PHP, HTML, and knowledge of fitness level to be served. I'll be running Apache web server locally with Guinea as the IDE and Firefox to view the output and Inkscape as a vector graphics program. Create fitness folder. Document folder is 400 by 600. Horizontal guides are 200 pixels. Vertical guides are 550 pixels, 520 pixels, 215 pixels. Background is blue. The metric background is 390 by 590. Standard background is 390 by 590. The tab is created by selecting the background rectangle and the tab and then going to path, then difference. To generate text, we just use the text tool in a new metric tab. Make the font size 36. Then for the content, we also use the text tool. Make the height font size about 18 and just below the vertical guide of 520 pixels. Then we create a rectangle that will be simulate the input. We make it white, 25 pixels as again, from 200 pixels to 250 pixels. Then again, we grab the text tool and we type centimeters in brackets. The font size is 9. That will be just below the white box. Then we create a new layer called standard content. We use the text tool. Make a standard tab. Font size is 36. Standard content, we use the text tool. Then we put BMI, font size 18, above the vertical guide at 215 pixels. Then standard content again, we just a rectangle. From 200 to 250 pixels, the height will be 200 pixels, and we make it white. Here we create the bmi.php file. Then next thing we do is we create the metric system button. We just use a isSetPost system. We use the chosen system as an array. First we clear the array, make sure there's nothing inside it. Then we fill the array with specific measurement units for the metric system for weight and height. Then we also do the same thing for the standard system. So in this case, we'll have the weight in pounds and the height in feet and inches. That's why we have two heights. One is just for feet, the next one is for inches. Next, we do the calculations for the metric system. So what we do here is simply we say, before the calculations, we just default to the metric system. So every time this application is used, it always defaults to metric system. So now we do the metric system calculation. So we use preg match. That means it can only be numbers or a decimal place. That's all that means for the weight. So we grab the weight, and then next thing we grab the height. And for the height, the only thing we have to do is divide by 100 to make it into centimeters, and then double it up. That's all it is. That's BMI. It will be rounded. So we round it to 2 decimal places. Next, the standard system calculations are slightly different in that first we do use the preg match for the weight, and we convert it by multiplying by 703. Then we do the same, we grab the height, but this time remember we need two heights for feet and for inches. So what we do is we grab the height and multiply by 12 to put it into inches, then we add to the previous height, then of course we double it up again, and then after that we can calculate our BMI formula. So this is Ojambo BMI calculator. What we do is we're going to first we're going to do all the CSS. It's an on the same page CSS. All this is just we make the width 300 pixels and then put a little margin so we can make like some fake tabs, just we did in the SVG file. So all this is just simple styling, like we make the labels display as a block. We for example, the fitness results, want to give them a little margin, we add some padding, because everything is in a table. Table is easier just to make sure everything's aligned properly. That's all this is doing. So what we do now is we actually start doing the HTML part. So what we do is we put everything into a div. So this will let us know what type of system is it. Like, is it a standard system or is it a metric system? And remember, the defaults always to the metric system. So then we also use a form. These are the two buttons. That means let somebody choose the metric system or the standard system. Now this is actually where we use another form, and this is where we put everything inside the table. So what we do is the weight will be the first thing entered, and the input from the user. We give them 5 maximum length they can input, and the name of course is weight. And for the label, that will be based on the array we made earlier. So if it's metric system, it will be kilograms. If it's a standard system, it will be in pounds. So we'll do the exact same thing for the height. Now the difference here for the height is because if it's a standard system, so that's why we have to use a PHP here to catch, like if it's that means if height 2 exists, we know it's the standard system. So this part here only comes into play if it's a standard system. That's why we use the little PHP here trick. And after that, of course, this part you can ignore. It's the waste part. Okay, here this is our button, so we can style the buttons separately. The first one is the calculate one, which is obviously a submit button. And the second one is just a clear button that will clear everything in the table. Now we care about the results. So we actually output using PHP, we output the BMI result, and then we explain the BMI results. For example, if the BMI is between is 18.5, that means you're underweight. And if the BMI is between 18.5 and 24.9, that means it's normal weight. And the 25 to 29.9, you're overweight. And the last one, if you're over 30, you're obese. And again, now we just checked, fix up all the errors we made before we do our testing. Okay, now we test the BMI, so we can put in some numbers, 68.2, and then we also turn the standard. The process of adding a fitness calculator to your website is made easier by using PHP. A simple PHP script can serve your current needs and be updated or modified later. Some later changes could be adding more fitness calculations or adding more fitness information and links. I hope you find this information useful. Please visit ojambo.com for feedback.